right, folks, if you don't recognize that clip, tonight in movie reviews, we're going to be talking Shelby Oaks and the 4 points that we're going to be focusing on tonight. Number one, the documentary is 30 for 30. Number two, Camille Sullivan plus horror equals a win. Number three, divorce this husband. And number four, it's scary until it's not. Stay tuned, folks. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. I appreciate you tuning in for another brand new review. Tonight in movie reviews, again, we are discussing Shelby Oaks, and I am so excited to get around here and talk about this one here with all of you. This has been one that has been getting talked about quite a lot online for a little bit now, and one of the biggest points of contention seems to be the fact that the writer and director Chris Stuckmann is a YouTuber who actually put out a very popular web series that's based around some of the characters that are here in Shelby Oaks, and basically this film is like the big screen continuation of some of those characters here. And I guess folks out there can't be cool with somebody making it big just from doing YouTube stuff. Well, you know what, Chris Stuckmann, I support you here. I enjoyed Shelby Oaks, and I'm excited to talk to all of you here about exactly why I liked it. Now, before we jump into that, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, no matter where you are tuning in to catch this review. We got a lot of great horror content on the channel right now. A lot of really fun stuff coming up that I don't want y'all to miss at all. But let's not waste any more time and dive right on into things here, folks. If you have not seen the trailer yet for Shelby Oaks, Shelby Oaks is a horror film about a woman named Mia who's searching for her missing sister, Riley, a paranormal investigator who disappeared with her team years earlier. We follow Mia as she pieces together video footage and other clues left behind by Riley, leading her to a terrifying mystery in the abandoned town of Shelby Oaks. And there it is, folks. That is what you need to know here about the story here that we're talking tonight. Now, again, what is so fascinating here about Shelby Oaks is the fact that the grand majority of this story, what we're taking the basis from, was already being explored in another one of Chris Stuckmann's projects. He had been making a web series about a paranormal investigation team known as the Paranormal Paranoids that went on and investigated haunted spaces and spirits and demons and all these kinds of things. And we get to see this team be a part here of the Shelby Oaks film. The Paranormal Paranoids went to go investigate the ghost town of Shelby Oaks. And after doing some investigation, which included finding an abandoned prison, weird things began to happen when the team went to go and stay at their lodging for the night. And ultimately, all of them either ended up missing or dead. And this left a huge mystery, not just for the world who really tried to figure out whether or not this was some kind of hoax, some sort of elaborate prank that was set up in order to get more viewers, or if there's something more sinister at hand here. And that brings us to Mia, one of the Paranormal Paranoids investigators named and that brings us to our lead character, Mia, played by Camille Sullivan. Her younger sister, Riley, was a member of the Paranormal Paranoids, and this is why Mia has been so invested in trying to get answers here on what happened to Riley. We are watching now, 12 years later, as Mia continues her investigation. And that's going to bring us actually into the first point here that I want to discuss tonight, that the documentary is 30 for 30. So, working off of the basis that Stuckmann already had set up in his YouTube series, the beginning of the film, the first 20 minutes or so, actually keeps documentary style, following around the Paranormal Paranoids and following local news coverage of this team going missing and the horrible idea of what could have happened, not just to Riley, but to the rest of the team as well, too. And honestly, this was a great way to bring myself, and I have to assume a number of you other viewers in this as well, because we've seen countless other horror documentaries in very popular films that we've gone through. I mean, even one of the most recent VHS entries, VHS Beyond, took this same kind of approach to it. So it definitely works, and it's an engaging way to get folks into your film there. But joke is on us, because in those first 20 minutes, as we're following along in this documentary style, suddenly we shift perspective completely, and now we're in the actual film. It's like we needed to get the backstory here on what we're going to see that doesn't actually come into the narrative, so we can approach it much differently. And once the film actually starts up, now we're seeing it from Mia's point of view, Camille Sullivan's point of view in this case instead. And y'all, let me tell you, that documentary part works out so well. It's chilling. There are some good scares in that as well too. The fact that we get to involve Michael Beach's police officer character here, which adds some legitimacy here to the documentary parts that we're watching. It is a great way to set the mood here for the rest of the film. It's one of the bigger successes here that Shelby Oaks definitely has. But not to be outdone, this is a good reason to go right into point number 2, which is Camille Sullivan plus horror equals a win. Now, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but if you're just tuning into my channel now, then you likely missed one of the earliest reviews I did back in the day for a film called Hunter x Hunter. This film about a family living out in the middle of nowhere who happen upon a lunatic who has gotten free and has brought nothing but death and destruction into their life. Y'all, if you haven't seen that, I highly recommend it. At one point, it was available on Hulu. I don't know if it's still there right now, but it's called Hunter x Hunter. Highly recommend it, just because the film itself is fantastic, but it's going to be those last 15 minutes which are going to leave your jaw on the ground. And I bring that up because Camille Sullivan was our lead in Hunter x Hunter, and man, she just has a habit of being in these films where like the worst thing humanly possible could happen, either to the character that she's playing or to somebody that's related to her. And Shelby Oaks is no different at all. I don't know if it mirrors cutting the skin off of a living person and stripping them down completely. I don't know if it gets up to that here, but some bad things for sure happened to Camille Sullivan's Mia and the folks who are around her here in Shelby Oaks. And it's just reminding me here, if you see Camille Sullivan is on your cast list for a horror film, you are in for a good time. The Butterfly Effect, Dead Rising Endgame. This is not her first rodeo, y'all. She has done more than a few films here to show that she's got a good pedigree here in horror, and Shelby Oaks is no different. She makes for a very engaging lead here. It is easy to get behind Mia trying to find her sister, to get any information humanly possible to get down to the bottom of this mystery. She's been searching for 12 years with absolutely no leads at all, not finding anything out. Everybody else has given up at this point, but it's part of Mia's search here, which is the reason why she's going to be in danger in the first place. So Camille Sullivan, thank you for again bringing us another horror film that you're in where you just are amazing in it. Absolutely killing it. Now, to speak a little bit more onto that story, again, the documentary at the beginning sets up how Riley and the rest of her paranormal investigation team has gone missing or all are dead. So when we shift perspective and the movie becomes an actual movie and we're following Mia around, Mia is trying to get more information on Riley and still find out for certain, is she dead or alive? And so the movie kind of starts with a man killing himself on her porch with a tape in his hand, and Mia watches that tape and starts to get more answers about what's going on. And this starts to lead to the actual possibility that there is a paranormal presence involved, something that Mia and Riley had dealt with at a very, very young age might have returned at this point in order to continue its mission of getting the both of them. And Shelby Oaks does a good job of like kind of riding the line here between supernatural horror and then just letting our minds wonder a lot here as well too. And you would think Now that Mia has more hard evidence about what happened to Riley, that folks would be just a little bit more helpful to her because it's like the first solid lead that anybody has had in years. But this brings us to point number 3, divorce this husband. Oh my good Lord. Y'all know, especially in the last few years, y'all know if you are a horror husband who is not the lead character, then you are likely a piece of crap. You are likely not doing anything to help out our lead in this. You're not offering any words of wisdom, any emotional support. You can't fight worth a damn. You bring nothing to the table. And my Lord, y'all, I absolutely hate Mia's husband here in this film. Brennan Sexton III, who plays her husband Robert, is just one of the worst horror husbands that we have ever seen. The fact that she lays all this information out for him with a good way to explain it, and even prefaces it by saying, "You're not going to believe me. This is all going to sound fairly crazy." And then after that, he has the nerve to take a breath and throw it back on her and says she needs some help. If the movie didn't end the way that it did, I wish that Mia and Riley would get a chance to send this demon over to Robert and let him deal with that. Like, you know what, Mia, divorce Robert and then put the demon curse on him. Because if you've seen Shelby Oaks, you see the way that curse ends up on Mia and Riley. You know what? You saw enough. Do a new ritual and put that shit on Robert, because this is disgusting the way that he condones himself in this film. He is terrible. One of the worst horror husbands that I have ever seen. But on that note, these are some of the better scares of 2025 that we have seen. And that brings me to my 4th and final point here. It's scary until it's not. Now, when it comes to found footage horror, I am a huge fan of this genre. I think it's fun, and you can always find a new angle, a new perspective to go with here. Quite frankly, I only really dislike it when it comes to Paranormal Activity. Those films just do not work for me, except for the last one, weirdly enough, Next of Kin, which I love and everybody hates. That's not me being contrary. I just like the way that one is structured more than any of the other Paranormal Activity films. But what Shelby Oaks does so well here, besides having Camille Sullivan kick all kinds of ass and having a great way of transitioning from the documentary part to the actual regular feature, what Shelby Oaks does so well is that in the early parts, in the first 2/3 of the films there, the scares are highly effective. A lot of it, we are seeing the same way that a lot of the skeptical characters are seeing, and it might be something Mia's showing or something we're looking in a video or on a photo, but we're seeing like a blur, we're seeing a faint outline, and yeah, as the audience, we can trust that it is what Mia is saying it is, but at the same time, because we're seeing it the same way that these other skeptical characters are as well too, it adds in, is that really there? And I think that makes it scarier when we're working through this here. The idea that Mia talks about her and Riley used to see monsters when they were young outside of their window, and we don't really see that head on for most of that, works so efficiently here in Shelby Oaks. But the problem is that Shelby Oaks very much seems like it's a film that works off the less is more approach. Not seeing the demon would have worked out so incredibly well. Keep it to the eyes, even keep it to the arm that we see, you know, keep it very minimal, shadows, tricks of lights, all that kind of stuff. But I do think that getting to see the baddie like this in a film that is working on a very tight budget can sometimes take those scares out of it. And that's just kind of the way I felt that when we got to that 3rd act, I didn't hate the 3rd act, but I hated the idea of showing far more that we probably should have seen here in this one. Just because it really does show that the budget is not exactly what it needs to be to make this as effective as possible. And it's a shame because one of the cast members, Derek Mears, who you should know, Swamp Thing, Jason Voorhees, did Star Trek as well. Like, he is so good, such a great guy, honestly. He gets a chance to play the demon at one or another points here in the film, but I just feel seeing it head on. It's not that it looked silly, it just didn't add more scares to what I had. It brought it down because I like the imagining part. I was okay with the demon dogs. All that was fine. The full-on demon just kind of took me out of it. So what I will ultimately say here about Shelby Oaks is that the folks who were out there just absolutely trashing it, I didn't see the same film. The documentary stuff here in the film works so well, and when we get to the actual feature, the combination of Camille Sullivan and effective scares to the first 2/3 of this film make it a true delight. And even if the third act is lacking due to showing more than what they likely should, I don't think that that's a reason to not enjoy this one, honestly. So with all of that packed in here, my final score for Shelby Oaks is a 3.5 out of 5. This is another one kind of like it, kind of like Queens of the Dead, to where I feel that your filmmaker knows the kind of movie that they are intending to bring to the audience here. And I might be wrong, but I think that Stuckmann is just looking for a good continuation of what he did with his web series, give it a good conclusion or a good next step here with it, and not setting out here to change the way we're looking at found footage horror. I honestly feel this is an effective, respectable, mid-range horror film that we're getting that actually offers a little bit more due to the phenomenal acting and, again, the good use of scares earlier on in it. Now, Shelby Oaks is available for you to rent or to purchase digitally right now. I imagine we might see it on Shudder, likely end of December, maybe early January, so you likely don't have to wait too long. But I am curious, if you had a chance to check this one out here, if you're going to go and rent it or buy it right now, let me know what you think of this one down in the comment section. What do you think about the documentary stuff at the beginning? How you feeling Camille Sullivan does here in the film as well? And ultimately, what do you think about the demon? Am I right that less is more, or am I completely off my rocker here with it? Let me know in the comment section, and of course, make sure you're getting subscribed to my link tree, as that is the best way to stay on top of all the horror content that I'm dropping for all of you. You can do that by going to linktr.ee/T Scary Movie. If you get subscribed, that's going to give you access to the YouTube page for the video versions of the show, your favorite podcasting platforms for the audio-only versions of the show, my Letterboxd page for written reviews and movie rankings through the year, my TikTok page for short content including reviews, premieres, and news, my Twitch page for horror gaming including Phasmophobia, and my Fangoria shop page where you can enjoy a 20% discount off anything in the Fangoria shop. Take advantage of that, y'all. Make sure to hit that subscribe, follow button no matter where you were checking this review out here. Got a lot of great stuff coming up for you here over the next week, including a look at episode 4 of Welcome to Derry. We're going to be talking Street Trash, the original Toxic Avenger. And folks, I promise you, we will get into the Talamasca as well. We got a lot of stuff coming up, and I'm going to be looking at some indie work here in the next week as well. So you don't want to miss any of that. Make sure you're subscribing to stay up on everything that's coming out. That's it tonight, y'all. My name is T. We'll be talking scary movies. Stay scared.